The thought of this morning today was about, how can we get the message of toxicity management across? And then actually it's a very important topic because in our daily oncology practice, and then we need to communicate well with the patients about, the possible benefits and possible burden, the toxicity, and then in order to help the patient understand about, what is going on, and then how can we make the best treatments to the patient. So, but of course, we have a lot of kind of like the gap in terms of like the communication skills and also the contents. So, and then this morning I tried to put up the state of the art of the knowledge, in this area, and then to make the the audience understand any kind of like the best practice approach in communications, and then what we need to really pay attention when we communicate with, in particular, is the older elderly cancer patients. Yes, of course, because actually this is a very important social support group. And then because for the elderly cancer patient, once they, get the cancer treatment done, and then they had to, talking about going back, to the community. So, I think this kind of like the professional group, charity group, is a really, really important, kind of like the resources, social resources, to help them to cope with that, late side effect, and also talking about the survivorship with rehabilitation. So I think that's a really one of the important team, and also the group, for these people in this oncology setting. I think definitely there's a difference, but I think really general, really superficial. We used to, based on talking about the increment of age associated with the functional ability, cognitive ability, the tolerance. But the research tells us actually it's not really the case. Actually, in particular, for the geriatric specific setting, we definitely need to consider about the, the geriatric, assessment, the information provided from them. So, and then this GA by the, scientific data tell us they are even more accurate, more, reliable. We can, understand about where and also what condition about the patient is. And instead of just only the biological age, let's say, this morning, our topic address, for some patients, maybe they are older than 85, but maybe they are better, can tolerate, to adjust, the toxicity. Whereas for those maybe younger, 65, but maybe they have a lot of morbidity, a lot of the, GA assessment issue. So maybe, they have more high risk, for the toxicity, or maybe they have a poor tolerance of the cancer treatment. So I think definitely we need to look at the really specific geriatric parameter, in oncology setting, instead of just only the biological age. I think, the most at the bottom line is we're talking about is the individualism and also the scientific basis of our practices. So because we know about the GA tells us about the, the patient, talking about the baseline, the status, will tell us about the patient functional, cognitive, all that, and also the tolerance scale of the cancer treatment. And also, just like the social demographic, maybe the patient have different social demographic, profile. Of course, for them to adjust, the treatment, adjust the survivorship will be different. So, and then for talking about the when the clinician, practitioner, or also other healthcare professional, when we, for us, for our daily practice, we need to make individual assessment. We need to make individual consideration. But what we do, our practice has to be on a strong evidence, or maybe based on the maybe more robust clinical guidelines. So we don't have to start talking about one for all treatment approach for everyone. So I think assessments is really, really crucial in geriatric oncology setting. Really take-home message for my talk is talking about we need to really put our elderly patient at the center of our daily practices. And of course, we as a clinician, healthcare professional, we have a very, very strong, oncology knowledge. And then we get used to, we're talking about the gold standard, just like we look for mortality, benefit, risk, toxicity. But for the patient, what they maybe really value, their interest, really concern is about quality of life. And then for the elderly, maybe there's a more simple language for them to understand about the potential, consequent outcome for the treatment. So the key message is we need to really communicate well to this patient in the context of the language. And then particularly to take into account how literacy levels and also their preference and also the interest. And then most importantly, we need to make sure our message being communicated to the patient had to be understandable, had to be comprehensible by this group of patients. So throughout this communication, and then eventually both patient and also clinical side can really talking about shared decision making. And then at the end, after all, we will provide better treatment decision to the patient. So I think the main bottom line is the communication. But the communication had to be in the content, had to make sense to our elderly cancer patients. They are a very unique group of the people.